This episode is brought to you by Absolute Landscapes. Absolute Landscapes is a landscape maintenance company that focuses heavily on commercial property maintenance. Call today for information about the services we provide and how we can best help you. 803-427-5944.
Yeah, man, I'm ready. Like I said, I'm excited. I'm ready to do this with you because I think what we're going to talk about is the raw, real reality of entrepreneurship. We hear a lot about the successes, and we hear a lot about what it's like a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, maybe into something, but we don't hear. I think when people hear the word entrepreneurship, they have a different idea, I think, of what it actually is. I mean, I've always told people that entrepreneurship is not really a job; it's like a lifestyle. You know, um, I mean, and that means the successes and what it takes to get there, the failures and everything that it takes to get there. Uh, so yeah, if you want to introduce yourself, just kind of say who you are, what you do, and kind of preface the conversation, anything you want to share that you think is relevant, and we'll dive into this thing, man.
Yeah, thanks, Cody. So, Eric Burnik, serial entrepreneur, born in African continent, lived in several different countries. Dutch, calling now in from the Netherlands, Amsterdam. Majority of you will know where Amsterdam is. And basically, you nailed it by saying like it's a lifestyle because you either eat, sleep, and just do business. That's basically what it is. And then you always have to be running your head about those ideas like how can I improve, who can I reach out to, what can I do to help and serve, and then get paid for that basically. Unfortunately, a lot of younger generation, now I sound very old, but I'm still early 40s, and due to the social media, due to the movements like quick scheme kind of things, everybody wants to become an entrepreneur because everybody assumes that when you're an entrepreneur, you're going to be free with your time. The only thing that we have in life that it's lost every second is our time. You can accumulate anything you want, money, all the other stuff, cars, houses, all the other stuff, but time is just lost. So the more you put in, the more you lose at the end of the bottom line, because I know a lot of people around me, and I used to be one of them 22 years ago when I started. I was thinking like doing work, it makes me successful. Like being busy makes me successful. At the end of the bottom line, being busy doesn't make you busy. It just wastes your time. If you don't have a clear goal, taking a risk and focusing towards that and doing work that really can get every 1% out of it, then you're on the right path. Otherwise, it's just waste of your time.
Yeah. So, man, there's so much there to touch on. So, okay, first of all, you said you're like you say that you're the younger generation, and that kind of makes you sound older than what you are. But I don't know, man. I feel like, so if you're like early 40s, I'm early 30s, and I feel like somebody in the early 20s. Like there's so much that has changed over the past 20 years.
Absolutely.
And I think you mentioned in your bio that you work with AI, or that you do something with AI. I mean, now we have AI coming along, and when I started my entrepreneur journey, and 10 years ago, AI was, it might have been a thing, but it wasn't like what it is now, where people are leveraging it and using it. And I mean, people are using AI to write like college papers and things like, and so it's like so much has changed, man, in the past 20 years. And I think social media is a big, like for me, when I started, that was around the time that I think social media was really, taking off. It was like, it was becoming a huge thing, the Instagram and the Facebook, and being able to network with people across the world, which that wasn't something that was a thing 20 years ago, or at least not mainstream thing. And so I don't know, man, there's just so much that changed. And saying that leads me into, I think you were right. You had to be able to adapt and to change with the things that's going on around you, because I think that's a big part of entrepreneurship is like being able to adapt and change to the environment. Because we see a lot of companies that just were not able to do that. Blockbuster was a thing. Like they were not able to see what was coming with the streaming thing. And then of course now nobody really knows who Blockbuster is. I mean, like this, it's not really a thing to go in.
I think if we, Cody, if we just step one step, because change has two sides of the coin. So
Right.
a lot of early stage entrepreneurs, they tend to change because it doesn't work. And so then you change very quickly. You pivot your strategy very quickly. At the end of the bottom line, because when you become uncomfortable with a situation or you reach your glass ceiling and then you say, oh, it's not working, there's nobody is willing to buy from me, so let me change. And then you suddenly see a lot of small companies change very quickly. And that's not the change that you're talking about. What you're talking is literally the change of the old companies, that they're like old money companies, like they're like huge. And the only way that you can avoid being a Blockbuster or being a Nokia or being in all the other big corporations that just lost the game is adapting to the change. One thing that I can mark my words now, we can come back as it's going to be online. Within 2.5, 3 years, you are going to see sole entrepreneurs utilizing AI without having to hire people, and then they're going to be a billion dollar company, what the valued at the $1 billion company. So that's how quickly it's going to move. I mean, there are now, for those who doesn't know, there are tools that you don't have to hire cold callers anymore, sales reps. You can literally utilize AI for that. You just pay almost the same amount of the salary of the individual, but they can do the cold calling for you. They can book meetings for you, so that you as an entrepreneur just can be at the meeting and do the pitching. So AI is going to change the game a lot, especially on those highly educated college degree students that they assume that by having a college degree, it's going to guarantee you a job. That boat that sailed away 30 years ago. There is no guarantee anymore if you graduate. The only guarantee that you're going to have is most probably a huge debt that you need to pay back. That's the only guarantee that you'll have. That's the same thing in the rest of the world. It's not only in the US. And so if you want to adapt and change, learn things like digitalization, obviously AI. You don't have to be an expert. If you just study around 15 to 20 hours about that topic, you're going to be already a top 5% of the world. And you can change your job as quickly as possible without somebody else comes and fires you. That's basically what it comes. But that's utilizing the tools.
So when we, because I want to make sure that I'm thinking about this, what you're explaining here, because AI, there's two different forms of AI, is my understanding. One is like a large language model, which basically just searches, like if you ask it a question, it searches the internet for this question and it formulates a sentence based on what the internet says the answer to this question is. But then there's like also an AI where it's like, I'm not too familiar with the other form of AI. So like, what are you saying when these people, I guess maybe implement an AI or hire an AI to do the cold calling? Like, how does that work? It's like the AI actually calls the person and they have this conversation. I mean,
so it's based on machine learning. So like companies like HubSpot, Salesforce, Pipedrive, etc., they have a lot of data because their customers used to cold call through those tools. So with those data in the background, they did not use obviously analytics like the name and the customers things, etc. But they extracted that and then kept the raw materials, which means like cold calling in a certain industry. What are the magical words that people want to buy? What are the key elements that the customer just said, no, we don't want to. So based on that, AI have been able to train, the machine learning have been able to train. And now you see those, let's say, pilots are used in certain industries. So the easiest thing is for me to book a meeting. Like I could just like cold call 1,000 phone calls at the same time and then just say, hey, I'm looking for this and this and this. Are you the person to have a interest for this podcast? Let's say for like the you're offering. While you need to generally hire, let's say, 5 sales reps to be able to call 200 phone calls a day per person. Now AI can do that at once.
So I'm curious though. Yeah, no, I 100% believe that, and I think that it's rapidly going to that point. If we're not already there, we are there, if we're not already, and we're going to prove from there. But I'm just curious about this though, because like I feel like a lot of people still are not going to pay or be, because I'm sure that you can tell the difference in an AI calling you versus an actual person. Like I'm
You'll be
sure that it's not.
surprised. You'll be
So
surprised.
like, but like, okay, but let's assume that if a person could tell that it was an AI, not an actual person, I don't know, man. Do you think there's going to be like a specific portion of that potential clientele that's going to like pick up on that and only want to do business with an actual person, which means that then those people, that whatever percentage of the market that is, it's going to be like a person who's actually doing business themselves are much more valuable versus the AI. Does that make sense?
I understand your question. So the more digital we became, the more distance we became from each other as humans.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't give an F about do I have John on the call or do I have Jane on the call because she understands my problem. We are annoyed when somebody cold calls me. I am just annoyed. I'm just pissed off. I just want to know, like, which company? Okay, thank you very much. Click, done. So to avoid those frustrations, if you can optimize that, then everybody will know, okay, this is a moment in my busy lifetime that if something is interested, that sounds interested, I will say, yes, I'm interested. And it will book a meeting for me with the real person. That's one. That's where it goes now. That said, currently the market is so open that we can do these pilots. And there are going to be legislations coming that they're going to say, like, when you have a cold caller that is a AI person calling you, that you have to mention it that, hey, I'm an AI agent and I'm Cody calling you for this. Do you have 30 seconds of your time? And that's going to happen. But for now, it's Wild Wild West.
Man, that's interesting. Yeah, there's going to have to be some sort of I don't know though. It seems like if a person is if a business or a company is using this, like it's literally limitless. Like if an AI can do this, if they can make 1,000 calls or 1,000 emails simultaneously, it takes 5 people to do that. Like just imagine how quickly and how exponentially these companies are going to grow. Like you said, be valued at $1 billion. You know, I mean, just
I can give you an example. Okay, I am dyslexic as a hell. I will read words and I will like change and I will like do different pronunciations. And when you see me typing an email when I have to go fast, you'll read it, you will understand it, but you will say, "Oh, this grammar that this doesn't work. Like what kind of company is this, etc." And so I embraced AI the moment that it came out, because now I could teach the AI to speak as I am. Like literally, I have a clone of Eric Burnik that sometimes we're training him like to have a conversations like I'm doing now. The only thing that you don't see is the hand gestures yet, but you will see responding as I do, like the pauses, the moment that I increase my volume, etc., etc. And so, like using those emails, like if you send me an email, most probably my AI will read it and it will flag it like, is it priority, not priority, etc. Like you have 3 classes. And then from there on, it will automatically respond. If it says like, oh, Cody sent me a message and we need to rebook this, it's a priority. So it will book my calendar, check my calendar's availability, move things if it's important. It does it automatically. So I do not need to have PAs anymore. Let's say it like that.
This is insane.
It is. And you only need to pay $20 to ChatGPT, and then using tools like Zapier. And if you have like Google Chrome, or like a Google Workspace, like for Gmail, or if you have Microsoft Office 365, it doesn't matter. With those 3, you can optimize everything. Even you like, there are some other tools that you need to use, but just if you want to optimize your emails, just to make your daily habits more productive, you don't have to look on your phone anymore to see which email came in.
Yeah, and I imagine there's somewhat of a debate on whether or not people think that AI is safe to use or whether it's going to be bad in the future or whatever. But I think.
But Cody, I mean, 60 years ago, everybody, especially also in the U.S., nobody had seatbelts in the cars. Nobody had um, ABS braking system. Nobody had airbags. We were
Mm-hmm.
driving as hell. And then suddenly there were some accidents, there were some things, and then, oh yeah, we had to improve this because then life got more value. And then we
Mm-hmm.
improve in that case. And that's why we don't drink and drive anymore. But
Right.
60 years ago, 50 years ago, it was normal. People will like when the new rules came, regulations came, people went bananas. Will say like, why are you taking my freedom away? I want to enjoy when I want to drink. So now you're
Yeah.
saying that I'm not allowed to drink and drive. And then so that's
Mm-hmm.
basically what it comes to. It's at the end of the bottom line. If you're the first mover, you're willing to take a risk to try things, then you're going to be enjoying the fruits later on.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. No, but but what I'm saying is though, we would never make a car these days, or we would never probably buy a car that didn't have a seatbelt in it, that didn't have airbags in it, or didn't have the braking system in it. And that's what I'm saying about AI. Like, it's like now that it's here and people are using it, like you're never going to get rid of it. I mean, what are they going to do? Outlaw AI? Like you're
No,
never going to get rid of this thing because people are using it and they see that it's much more, it increases productivity or whatever. Like, whether people agree with it or think it's safe or not, it's here. And like it's not. I can't imagine that too many people would be happy if they just tried to take away AI now that we're using it and seeing. Because so my phone, I have a phone that has AI. I have the S20, the 24, I think it is, that's got the AI on it. And dude, I can go to an article online and it can be a 5-page article. I can summarize it in like 10 seconds. It can give me the summary of the article. You can like edit your pictures and all that kind of stuff. You can take things out of pictures or whatever. And it's mad convenient, man. It's like, once you have that, like, how can you go back to not, you know what I mean?
it's I fully agree. Like what I lost track on the like I have an iPhone like three phones, but all of them are iPhone. All of them are older generation because I don't
Mm-hmm.
see any improvements. So I just lost one of them is 12, 13, and that's it. That's the newest one.
Right.
That said, software wise, we have a lot of improvement. Like I don't know if you saw the news that was ChatGPT 4.0 came up,
Mm-hmm.
and that's more interactive. Like you can literally pick up your phone, turn the camera on, and ask ChatGPT, "What do you see here?" and what I'm going to do, and that person or an individual or like robot will respond to you in a playful way. Like will laugh at your jokes. Will give you tips like if you want to use your camera, how to use it, etc. to record. It's already there. The only thing
Mm-hmm.
is, who cares if that's a real person or not, as long as it's helping you to move forward faster.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yeah.
more I can
Yeah.
utilize AI for my own benefit, the more I have time with my 3 young boys that I can enjoy my life with them.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. And I agree with that. And I support that. But I think the issue with people have with this is, like, there's no doubt AI is going to be used to scam people.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
already like, Instagram pages who claim to be a beautiful woman or whatever, and these men are sending this person, probably just an average guy making money off of this, just sending this person money as if it's a real woman. And they're being scammed out of this. Um, and I think that's maybe the concern that people have is like, where does this, I mean, it's good to use it in business. It's good to increase productivity and that kind of thing. But like, on the other side of that, there's also got to be a negative to it, where
I mean,
people
at the end
can
of the
use
bottom
it
line,
for ill.
society is the average of an average.
Hmm.
So we created societies, and that's why we have like every region, continent, country has a different kind of society norms. So we
Right.
create average of an average, and there always are going to be people falling through the cracks, the negative side, but also to the cracks, grow up and then benefit more from this. So those are like entrepreneurs that are willing to take a risk. Those are people that are willing to share and educate, help other people to move faster forward. But there are going to be also uh, let's not be very open with like the people that they just lazy and they just want to get rich as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you can use AI obviously to scam people. I mean, blockchain scammed a lot of people, crypto scammed a lot of people, video cold calling scammed a lot of people, because now and then you could like act like you are the CEO of the company, and you can get a company from Singapore to pay you money because you are suddenly a customer or something like that. Phones, social media, etc. So scam will be always there. We are never going to be able to take that away. The only thing is like, the more informed you are, the more you can protect yourself. That's basically what it comes to. That's why you see scams attacking more to the elderly people, because they are not up to date, or that like people who are alone and single, that have been 6, 7, 10 years single, and then when somebody says something very beautiful to you, you suddenly feel like, oh, this person likes me, and then that's why you open up, and then you open also your wallet on that one.
Right. So this is I think this is a good transition to make right here, because I want to get your opinion on this. We're talking about this AI and using AI, and helping it increase the productivity. About your journey of entrepreneurship, do you see an issue though? Because I feel like, the journey of entrepreneurship, or any journey, career, fitness, health, whatever, one of the most valuable things is the journey itself, is what you learn. It is how you improve yourself, the lessons that you learn, the things that and I'm not trying to, challenge you on the AI thing here. I think there's pros and cons to it, but also to the journey of the entrepreneurship. So let's say, 20-year-old guy wants to start his own business, and for every single thing that he can, he's using the AI system. That's for the scheduling, that's for the cold calling. But it's like, dude, like there are some valuable lessons there to be able to cold call someone, or to be able to write an email to someone, and it's attractive enough for them to respond to you, or to be able to, manage your time or your finances. Like these are all things that are valuable lessons to learn. So I'm curious, like, what do you think? I mean, if we have a 20-year-old guy or girl and they want to start a business and they're using AI for simply everything, is it like they skip the process of that? They skip those lessons that maybe you and I, or somebody that didn't do that when they started, learned?
Or I mean, Cody, I can give you an example. Okay, you are in the generation of Tinder. Okay, like Bumble, Tinder, and all the other stuff. When I was a teenager, I really had to do the groundwork. Go and ask every girl and get blown up by saying no, or this and that, etc. So it built me up to be able to be comfortable to ask even more and be easy talker, smooth talker, etc. So that built a character. If I was in the age of Tinder, I will be swapping like 10,000 times. And so and I think that's where the gap is now. We are in a transition phase of using tools like, in this case, Tinder to date with each other, or use AI to move things faster. I'll give you an example. Okay, one of the things, if I had the AI earlier, a lot of people forget about it. Entrepreneurship is a lonely journey. Okay, you need other people for sure, because there is no self-made millionaire. All those words, like literally self-made, it's BS, because you need to have a person who is willing to buy from you. So that person has to believe in your services or in your product. So that's a people's work. Okay, so you always need to have people to buy something from you. That said, as a sole entrepreneur, when you start today, if you start today, you're going to struggle. You're going to have sleepless nights. You're going to have moments that you don't know who to ask. You're going to have, you come home and then people around you will say, Cody, stop working, man. Entrepreneurship is not for you. Just get a job, do this, do that. At least you will have a stable income. And with that, you will build some pension, 401k, etc., etc. And so that's what the society has teaching us in the last 100 years. And so, and if you want to break out from there, you need to try different things. So for me, I will, for instance, get tools a bit, like not the free version, but get the upgrade version, like from ChatGPT. And then you can create your own GPT. You can train with your background story. You can literally just put, I'm Eric, I'm born here, I've done this, this is my background, and I can put it in, and I'll say, what do you need more to be future me? You can literally ask that, and you can ask, like, I want you to become successful entrepreneur within 2 years of time. making a million in the bank. So come up with a couple of ideas. What do you need from my side? And obviously, you're going to have interaction going on. You're going to go back forward, educate a bit. But at the same time, there are more than a million books of successful entrepreneurs who have made it and they wrote it down. You can either read them. I, dyslexic person, I read, but it takes me twice a longer time to educate myself on that one. So I use tools like summarize books and etc. Nowadays, I read the summary. If I'm interested, I will read the book, but I also train my ChatGPT to think like that person. Those skills and tips can be implemented already. So I can now, every morning when I wake up, I have half an hour brainstorm session with my ChatGPT, which named is Maverick. And so I challenge myself, like brainstorming, without having to hire 30 professionals to talk about it. Like you, with the podcast ideas, you can brainstorm literally every day. You don't have to do half an hour. You can do 5 minutes, and you already have a couple of ideas for a week. So those are the small things that you can utilize and become like kind of a friend with that person. Like we used to be friends with our characters that they were reading these books like Spider-Man, Superman, and etc. We will own that character because we will visualize it. And so like, why not visualize it and play with tools like GPT Plus and etc. etc. So that will be my moment. And I would like to add one thing on that one, which I agree with you. What you said is the journey of cold calling, the journey of reaching out to people, the journey of kind of being uncomfortable to grow from that, because basically the whole growth comes from making mistakes. However, that's based on the benchmark of today. We don't know what ChatGPT is going to do next week. We don't know what the AI is going to do in 2 years. We don't know what kind of opportunity it's going to create. So maybe the cold calling is going to be booking a meeting and you still need to have a demo. And in that demo, you're going to see a real person. Maybe AI is going to push us to see each other more in person and not back through the chats and communicate with each other through SMS or through social media, Snapchat, and all the other stuff. So I think AI is going to push us to even be more community-based, coming back to the core of being a human person.
Yeah, I think back over my journey, and I haven't been doing this as long as you have. I don't, we're going to get into this in a little bit, but it sounds like you got like a lot of things going on over there. But like, I just don't know, man. I think back over my journey, and I think like some of the biggest lessons, some of the best lessons, most valuable lessons I've ever learned came from me not really knowing what I was doing and just trying to do something, and it's scary for me to think that like if I were 20 years old now, because I started my business when I was 20, if I was 20 years old now and I just used AI for every single thing, flash forward to a decade from now, I don't know. I question if I would have the same wisdom to whatever extent that I have from the last 10 years that I would have for the next 10 years if I started now at 20. So I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. I agree that it's something I'm curious about. I think AI can be used, but it's also too, it scares me to think about living the last decade of my life and whether or not I was productive or not because of an AI or whatever. It's like, but what if I didn't have those lessons? What if right now I was not able to have a conversation with somebody because I'd never had a conversation? And it's like, I don't see, because a lot of people use the Tinder example. Like, we have Tinder these days. And I think that's 100% true, that I have had women say to me, and I have heard women say that they wish they were approached more by men in public than what they are. Not in a creepy way, but just being approached. But it's
I understand, but we still that. It's already, society has done so many crazy things that now men do not dare to approach.
I know, and I agree, but think about this though. If you're a 25-year-old man or a 30-year-old man or 35 or 40, whatever it is, if whatever men around you are using Tinder, okay, if I had to a guess, I would think that people of all ages use Tinder. I haven't been on Tinder in years.
I think so.
But But let's say that like the average guy is using Tinder, okay, and they're just swiping whatever they're doing. Maybe they're having luck with it, maybe not. But then you still have a very small percentage of men who are actually going up to women and approaching women. And it's like you have a guy on Tinder who is messaging a woman and she's not messaging back because there was a guy who went up to her in public, in person, and approached her. And she was much more attracted to that than she was the 1,000 DMs that she gets on Tinder. So it's like by doing this in public, in person, approaching this person, you are already setting yourself apart. And so I'm kind of using the same philosophy with that, with the AI. I don't know. I could be thinking about this the wrong way because
No. I agree to a certain level. So I'll give you an example. Okay, what you just said is a person that who puts his shoes on and goes and approaches a woman, generally speaking, is a salesperson. You need to sell yourself. You need to pitch.
Exactly.
You need to adjust. You need to mirror. You need to build rapport. That takes experience.
Yep.
And that takes a lot of failures. Because one time, the way that you say, like there was a period of time in the 90s where this Friends was very popular on TV. And one of the guys was always saying, "How you doing?" And so everybody would, like all the men, when they, that period of time will try to be as funny as it is. And then they'll realize like, okay, it's funny on TV. It's not funny in real life. So then you need to adjust. Otherwise, you're just going to be one of the losers, losing every time. I believe the game of excellence starts with the game of losing. And there is a law of average. The law of average says if you reach out to 100 people, there are going to be 2 people saying yes to you. So if I know that and I can change that no, those 2 words, 2 letters, if I can change that is a fun way, and I say, oh, I got another no. Great, thank you. I'm like one more no closer to a yes. Like literally, I could just like count that. The only thing is with the average law of average, it says we don't know if the first 2 is going to say yes or the last 2 or somewhere in the middle. So if you have an idea and you want to, let's say, have a customer, or you want to sell something, or you want to get new friends, use the law of average. That's already there. The only thing is you are going to reach out to and then train yourself and adjust every time, improve and make it better. That's about sales. But using digital, Tinder, sending messages, that's marketing, my man.
Okay. I kind of see the comparison there, but I mean, I see the comparison, but I still personally see the value in approaching a person, because even like my cold calls, man, a lot of my cold calls are done in person. Like I'll go up to it because we do a lot of business to business with the industry I'm in. We do a lot of business to business sales, and I will go up to a person in person and do a lot of my cold calls. But I mean, maybe that just fits me better. You know, maybe I just, it definitely
it's
saves
something,
time.
like, again, we are guessing about the future. Okay. So nobody knows. The only thing is we see that there's a curve, the hockey stick curve. Okay. It's growing fast. Either you pace it up a bit and follow the flow, or you're going to be at the bottom of the mountain and look up and say, oh shit, I missed a team and now I need to climb myself. So that's basically what it is. And you can still reflect it based on your values. Okay. We all see every business opportunity differently. Some of the people will say, I will not do business during the Sabbath. Some of the people will say, Sunday is my church day. So if you call me, my phone is off. Some of the people will do something different. So we all take decisions based on our upbringing, based on our society, based on our family value. Basically, that's how you look at it, based on your perception. And for that reason, there's never going to be a standardized AI, standardized cold calling, something like that. So if it works for you, that you say, okay, I love to be in person and that makes my time better than just using AI cold calling. You don't have to cold call. You can just do it yourself. However, what you can do is the follow-ups and optimize the contracts and optimize this onboarding and optimize all the other stuff. That you don't have to do it by yourself anymore. You can just create that once, and then it goes automatically after you close the deal. So you could just say, give me your credit card numbers, I'll put it in, and within 2 hours, you're going to be able to use the tool or the service that way. So you make sure that you add the credit card, you know that you double checked it, you did the background check, you know everything, you put it in, and then you press OK, and then the rest goes automatically used by your agent's AI. So that can be beneficial for you. And then for other person that a lot of techies, we know, I mean, you speak, that's one of the things you teach yourself being speaker, okay? You failed, or either you had it in you as a talent to speak, to challenge people, to ask questions. But I can guarantee you that there are so many technical people that I cannot speak, especially when there are women around. They will just block. And so if they have to sell something, the AI is a pretty much a good solution for them.
For sure. Yep.
Till today, when you want to start up a tech company, you always had to have around 3 kind of individuals, okay? A hipster, a hustler, and a nerd. Nowadays, a nerd doesn't need to have a hipster or a hustler, or a hipster and hustler doesn't need to have the nerd anymore, because you have tools like no-coding platforms where you can build your software within like a couple of days. So the world is changing, and everybody's like looking around and trying to, like, you say, yeah, I see it, but then I don't know if it's going to fit me. I understand that, because we don't know what's going to be in the future. The only thing that I know is I reflect. I like to say it like this as a metaphor. I'm driving a car and I have a front window and I see in front of me there's a long road 66. I'm driving through that. And I know where I came from. I'm looking to the rear window of mine and looking at it and then saying like, mirror. Okay, this was my journey. I was struggling. I failed. I failed miserably. Failed several different businesses. And then had the relationship issues, and then had sleepless nights, and had become ill, and et cetera, et cetera. And then I'm thinking like, okay, that made me who I am now. And how can I use that to avoid it in the future? That part. But the rest, I don't know what's going to happen. Is going to be, am I going to have roadblocks? Most probably. Am I going to, if I'm driving electric, am I going to have a charger somewhere in 10, 20 miles? So those things I don't know yet. But the things that I know, I can optimize what my past was. So I don't want to have the same pain. So I want to avoid those pains. That's why we have seatbelts. That's why we have airbags. So we adjust things to improve for the current situation. In the future, we'll see.
Yep. So I want to get into your specific journey, your thoughts on entrepreneurship specifically, maybe just without the AI stuff. But before we do that, so what you said, you're a serial entrepreneur. What do you do, or like what kind of industry do you do, or what have you done?
So let me ask you first, how frank can I be on this podcast?
You can be as open as you want to be, man.
So then I will say looking at from now, I'm more a fuck up entrepreneur than a successful entrepreneur. And so what I mean with that is that you need to make mistakes to be able to improve. You need to try and then fail and then stand up and see, okay, am I willing to move forward? And generally speaking, there are a lot of things online and people say, the only reason that you're not going to succeed is you just give up. That's the only reason. If you wake up every day, it's going to be painful. I mean, like Usain Bolt, he was the world champion and the fastest runner ever so far. Now, the question is, do we judge him on that 100 meters? Or do we judge him that 8 years in a row he has worked his ass off day in, day out sacrifice this friendship, sacrifice birthday, sacrifice a lot of different things, sacrifice relationships most probably, and then being successful, enjoying, and everybody knows his name. And then, but nobody, like everybody wants to have the benefits, but nobody wants to have the journey. Everybody is jealous what they have now, but nobody is jealous about how they got it.
Right. I believe that.
And the only way to do that is literally by saying, okay, I was not born in a family that is entrepreneurial. Okay, my father is a anesthesian. My mother is a nurse, used to be, and so my upbringing was become a doctor, become a doctor, become a doctor, become a doctor. And so, unfortunately for my journey, but looking back now, I was like the black sheep of the family, always challenging, always doing always trying to ask questions like why, like I'm a curious person, so I always want to know, like, why am I not allowed to do that? Why is this like that? Why can we not do this differently? And so when you come from an upbringing where there is a standard, and then if you ask a question, they say, no, you're not allowed to ask that question. Yeah, but why? Because that's it. And then you have frictions in the family, and then you either you stay in the family and you become what they put you around, let's say, or you challenge and you go out of that environment and find a new environment. So I left home, I believe it was between 15 and 17 years old, and I have made massive mistakes by doing like financial mistakes, friendship mistakes, businesses, almost being homeless, a lot like if I look back and I'll say, wow, it would be easier if I just stayed home. But I don't know if I would be an entrepreneur. I don't know if I would be having 3 amazing boys with an amazing relationship with my wife. So all of those happened because of those decisions that I've taken. Oh, painful there were, absolutely.
Well, and I think that is a big issue though, because I think a lot of people who are young like that and who want to be entrepreneurs or kind of want to do their own thing, not even really entrepreneurs, if they want to deviate from whatever their family history is, I think there's a lot of that. There's a lot of shaming, whether it's conscious or unconsciously. You know, their family shames them. They're like, oh, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to go take this risk? Why do you want to risk all your money? And you know, you would be great doing this. Why do you want to do this? But I think that's definitely, because that was something I remember too, that people never really understood what I was trying to do. And it's like, I feel like there are less entrepreneurs than there are not in the world. So of course, anytime you do something that somebody that is different from the crowd, nobody's going to understand it. But it's very discouraging, I feel like, for people, and not even just young people, anybody of any age who wants to try to do something. I would actually argue if the older you are and if you try to become an entrepreneur, the more backlash you're probably going to get from it, because probably, you know, if you're 50 years old and you want to start a company, you probably have more people depending on you than you did at 20, you know. So I would say even the older you get, like, people are not going to understand if you, but I think, who was it? I think Walmart was started when that guy was like 44. I think he started Walmart when he was 44. Sam Walton did.
I will give you facts. Okay. An average entrepreneur that started this business is at age 42. Average millionaire that succeeded is 56. And average billionaire is 67. So when you are early 20s, early 30s, you have a lot of time to make a mistake. Okay, just do it. Right. That's basically what Nike says. Just do it. Because if you wait for I'm going to wait until the ChatGPT AI is going to be this. You already lost the game. I'm going to wait until the elections are over. You already lost the game. There are so many people that they see the opportunities, like even like with the election things, like in the US now, like if you have a slightly entrepreneurial mindset, you will see opportunities everywhere. I mean, there is what was the name of the red color theory or something like that. If I ask you, look around, although you're in a dark environment, if I ask you, like, spot red color in your room now, where you are.
Yep.
If I look at it now, I'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things that I see around me. How much do you see?
I see 3.
Okay, so if I ask you to spot color blue, how much do you see there?
Oh man, that's a lot. Maybe 10.
But I can guarantee you now one thing, that majority of the blues that you selected, those 10, are not fully blue. Some of them are like light blue, some of them are dark blue, some of them are slightly different blue. There are different shades on those 10. Most probably there will not be even one similar.
Yeah, that's about right.
And so the theory is if you are looking for the opportunities, you are going to find the opportunities. Even if an opportunity doesn't look like an opportunity, you're going to squeeze that in that opportunity basket.
Yep.
And so that's basically what it comes to, is if you're open to do business. And one of the things that I really appreciated, although it's a real American way of saying it, is Grant Cardone says, "Where is my money?" So he trained his brain to go to every event by saying, like, where's my money? Who has my money? With whom I'm going to do this exchange to be able to earn money. So if that's your brain, that's your opportunity-driven brain, you're going to see opportunities everywhere. I love the opportunity story of the guys, founders of Airbnb. They started their business. It didn't work. They had a lot of debt. And then suddenly the last elections came, which was, I believe, Obama against, which was the Republican that was...
Was it Romney?
Mitt Romney, yeah. Is it Mitt Romney?
I think that was I think his first election was Romney. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
If that was the case. And then these guys thought, okay, we need to make money to be able to pay the bills because we are in debt. And so they created a cereal, limited edition cereal. They went to the supermarket, like to anyone there. They bought the cheapest cereals there. They went to one of his friends, created new design cereal package, limited edition with Obama, with Mitt Romney, and they sold out within 48 hours. And they were selling it for $40 per piece. And so they needed the money to pay the bills. And suddenly they created an opportunity. And then with that, they realized, like, oh, now we can sell basically anything. So let's focus on that marketing part. And that's how Airbnb rolled out, basically. So the opportunities are everywhere. Well, I would like to go 2-3 steps behind and mention one thing that you really emphasize, that the older you become, the more you have to lose. So therefore, you're scared to start a business. That's one. And the younger you are, the you're encouraged because of your parents and family members and etc. Like, I don't know why. I really don't know, because I did not like go in depth on that one. For some reason, when we started to walk as a baby, we fall down. Your parents will applaud you to say, "Cody, come on, honey, stand up again. Do 2 more steps."
Yep.
And it will fall down, and again 2 more steps. And your parents will be amazed, and they will shout it out to their family members. They will call their friends. They will send them like a telegram by saying, like, Cody did this first steps. Today was the first step that he stood up. And now he's running. And now he's this. And then we applaud that moment. And suddenly, when you can walk, you can talk, you can do your thing, we try to put rules around you. You are not allowed to do this. You are not allowed to shout. I'm working. Please leave me alone, etc., etc. And then suddenly, between the age of 5 and 7, you get this shield around you where you're not allowed to ask a lot of questions, where you're not allowed to be as creative as a person. So unfortunately, somewhere there, we are losing the freedom of trying things with failing.
Yep.
I have so many cuts in my life that I've fall down, broke, etc. Tried different things, and yeah, some of them were dangerous, but that makes you as a person. And I think that's basically what we're missing as entrepreneurs. We do a lot of things like baby showers and etc. But when a person says, "I started my business," majority of people will say, "Oh, he's gonna fail."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's 100%. Listen, man, let's do this. Let's take a really quick break, really quick, and we're going to pick right back up on this because I want to say something on this, but we'll be right. We're just going to take a really quick break. We'll be right
Don't
back.
worry.
Okay, so you were talking about how your parents or whoever the people that are close to you, like if a child starts walking, we applaud that, and if they fall down, we kind of help them back up, and it's like that makes a lot of sense because you would never. I don't have any children, so maybe I can't comment on this, but I think it's easy to imagine that a parent would never want their child to not be able to walk, and so it's like with doing that, that this person walking or running or whatever it is, that is going to benefit this person. That's going to benefit them for the rest of their life. I mean, they can't be a person who's 20 years old and never learned to walk. I mean, can you imagine that? So it's like, so we support that. So it's like, that's a good point. Why don't we support someone who's trying to build a business or kind of, stray away from the path of what we think is, maybe it's because they think it's safe. Maybe because these parents or these friends, they want their person to be safe.
This is my theory, okay? Because we are prejudiced about people who have money. Okay, give you an example. If you're at the red light, you're standing there waiting until it's going to be green so you can walk. And suddenly there is a Lambo Cayenne or something, like any like luxury supercar stops there. And then you see there are two young men, 15, 16 years old. What are your first thoughts?
Well, if they're that young, I'm thinking they're doing something illegal or it was given to them.
I rest my case. And if that's the mentality of an average John Doe about thinking about like when a person achieves a certain success, how they got it, it doesn't matter. But if that's the thing, what then it creates is like, oh yeah, he got it that way. Either it's money or wealthy parents, or maybe it's he got a sugar mama. So it's always like that, but it's never like maybe he got lucky. Maybe he became an entrepreneur at the age of 12. Maybe he was selling I don't know, lemonade at the corner of his house, and then like putting that money at the following, let's say, any other entrepreneur and investing that money and buying even more, etc., and then bringing it and selling it and hiring their classmates and selling those lemonade even more in different locations. And this is exactly what I said was we always are jealous about the results, but we are never jealous about how they got it. And so it's the thing that we see everywhere. It's the tip of the iceberg. It's visible, but under it, it's cold, it's freezing, it's dark. You don't know what kind of creatures are around there. And so you need to do those work to be able to shine at the top where you can have potential tourists coming and seeing the iceberg, or U.S. iceberg damaging Titanic where you can sink other people. So it all has positive and negative. But what I'm trying to say with that is the bottom line, it's almost nobody wants to do that work, what they have done. And so coming back to that, please say.
I was just going to say, and I think that's 100% the case because I say this a lot. I think social media has glamorized entrepreneurship, and we do see the guy on Instagram with the nice sports car, the whatever it is, the nice house, and the whole thing, but we don't see what he did to get to that point. We don't see the several decades before that point where he lost sleep, where he missed meals, where he was, made mistakes and was broke and probably, I think, I don't know the percentage, but I know the average millionaire has at least some point in their life either filed bankruptcy or came close to it. I mean, so my generation, man, I was a big video game guy when I was a kid. And it's like you play a video game, you try to win the game and you don't win. And so you try it again. You try it a different way. A lot of these games these days, you can build a character. You can get different attributes and stats and that kind of thing. And it's like, why we don't take that philosophy and apply it to life? I don't understand, because if you look at this thing as a game, if you look at it as something that you can win, that you can get out there, yes, you can make a mistake. You can fall, you can fail. But if you continue to improve on that, like I'd be damned if I want to make a mistake and not get anything from it. You know what I mean? I'm going to learn from this thing and use it to apply it to something else. But it's like we see the person on Instagram or the guy pull up at the red light or whatever, and we don't see what happened before that.
No.
And I don't want to sound disparaging towards parents of my generation or, coaches or whatever, but I remember back when I was a kid playing sports, everybody got a trophy. Everybody on the team got a trophy. Whether you won, lost, didn't matter, whatever. I think even in our football team as a high school, I don't even think there were tryouts. If you just wanted to be on the team, you were on the team. And so it's like we have that philosophy for, 18 years or whatever it is. And we're hearing this. And then now a lot of those people are getting into the workforce, the mid-20s, late 20s are getting into the workforce. And we see that just because a person wants this promotion or this job or this spot, they think they should have it. And this isn't everybody, obviously, but there's a percentage, a small percentage, that just because they want this thing, they feel like it should be given to them. And it's like, bro, you got a guy.
Is, a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and you have a guy or a girl that's been there 10, 15, 20 years before you who has put in the time that they have this. I'm talking about, the corporate ladder at this point. They have this time, they deserve this promotion. But it's like, I think the thing, and don't get me wrong, capitalism definitely has its flaws, but I think the thing that we have here in America, at least, is so competitive for entrepreneurs. If you're not out grinding, man, if you're not at the tip of your game, the top of your game constantly, almost constantly, you're going to be passed by somebody who is.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that is a good point. Because if I were to see a sports car, I would say if they were very young, 20 years old, I would say, man, this guy is either got lucky on a crypto pump. This was given to him. He's doing something illegal. It would probably be one of those three things. But it's like, you're right. I don't see what he did. Maybe he did. Maybe he was 5 years old and he was out mowing grass. I don't know. Maybe he was doing something to put this money back. But yeah, I think that's a good point because we don't see what it takes for a person to get to that point. We don't.
No. So it's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's not our fault. Okay, it's indoctrinated in the society. Like, give you an example. Hollywood is a part of that too. Give you real examples that you can yeah, that's true. A hero in any hero's movie that has superpower, it's always orphan and poor.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that have bought their superpowers are always kind of a badass, and they got rich, and for that reason they don't have their own superpowers, so they have created superpowers. Batman has a lot of money. Iron Man, a lot of money. And then you come to Superman without any parents, lost somewhere as a photographer. Then we have a Spider-Man who lost his parents and lost his grandfather, etc., etc. So anyone that you see that hardworking, superpower talents are poor, because it makes us say, oh yeah, that's the reason that we are poor. We are not willing to do the work. And any other company or any other person, a hero that got wealthy, now they have the ability to get everything. And so we are always, majority of the time, we'll look at it negative to wealthy people because they always have chosen for themselves. And then when a person comes to me and says, money doesn't make you happy. Oh, trust me, it makes you happy. Okay?
Yeah.
Every individual that says money doesn't make you happy, it's just because they never tasted the money. They did not have enough money. What makes you happy is when you have money and you can give it away.
Right.
Then you get the fulfillment. And I can say one of, in my family, in my surroundings, I've seen when I was a young boy, is that a lot of things that people helped each other where they did not have the means to help. And so I got this idea from another person, and then I realized, every time that I fly in an airplane, that I see when they say, at the moment there is a cabin goes down, where you don't have oxygen, there are going to be masks popping down. And they always say, put the mask first on you, then help your children. Put it on you and then help others. What they mean with it is you cannot give away what you don't have. If you don't have oxygen, you cannot help another person. If you don't have money, you cannot help another person. And that's literally with a business. If you don't have business, you cannot say to another person, don't get the business. You never felt it.
And that's a really good point too, because this is why I say that like your personal growth and your self-improvement, if it's done the right way, it benefits everybody that's around you. You know, you talk about put the mask on yourself first. If you can't, if you don't have a life for yourself that you can build and that you can contribute and that you can help other people with, the people that are around you are only going to get a very small percentage of what you're even capable of anyways.
Yeah.
So if you don't put the mask on yourself first, if you're not, especially as a young man or I think a man of any age, I can't speak about women, but I think a man of any age, I think you should be, the priority should be improving yourself and your life so that the people that are connected to you, whether it's family, if you don't have a family yet, whoever it is, if you're an entrepreneur, you probably have employees. If you don't have employees, you definitely have clients. All these people will benefit better, like will benefit because you are improving yourself. You're trying to improve whatever
at the
life.
At the end of the bottom line, you as an individual and I are massively lucky to be alive.
Right.
1 in 400 trillion, the chance that you survive, you are born. Okay, 1 in 400 trillion. And then if you look at in the last 100 years, last century, like average person in the Western world that survived as a baby, it's increased massively. So that you and I are alive and we are calling each other, sitting in this podcast from thousands of miles from each other and having this amazing talk where we can like challenge each other, learn from each other, etc. Why would you waste that?
Right.
So I always see it like this. One person, I forgot his name. In 2007 or 2008, I was at this personal mindset growth conference, and one of the guys said, "Who has this phone?" And like a couple of people were showing their hands, and then he said, like, "When is the last time that you upgraded your software?" Because we do that on our laptop, we do that on our phone. Every time there is a beta version or something, like we always upgrade it immediately to see like what are the new features. Well, we tend to forget about upgrading ourselves.
That's true. And I think a big part of upgrading yourself is going through that failure, that adversity, that whatever that thing is, because I simply don't, if you don't go through failure, or if you don't try something and it doesn't work out, you're going to be in the same place. Or if you do something, it does fail and you do improve from that, you're going to improve from that. This is why, like, I think when it's talking to you specifically about, you know, just the journey of entrepreneurship and the failures along the way and the things that really challenged you. And there were like all these times you probably thought that you would have gave up, or you wanted to give up, or you know, looking back on it now, you're probably thankful that you didn't, but in the time, it's like, why the hell am I doing this? Like, why? Like, I'm putting all this effort, or at least this is how I thought about it. I'm putting all this effort into something. I'm putting all this time and energy into something. Like, I can go get a job, man, and not have to do any of this. Like, I would be okay. Like, just go get a job, just play it safe. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I working this hard towards something that it seems like nobody around me believes in? But like, why am I doing this? But that is part of the journey, like going through that adversity, getting through that, overcoming that, learning from that, benefiting from that, growing from that. That is part of the journey. Like that is part of, you said it yourself. That is like the majority of any superhero movie. You know, these superheroes, even a story like this, man, a story like a superhero movie, they don't just become the hero. They go through something that is traumatic, that pushes them in that space. And this is why
I'd like to add on one thing on that, Cody, on your story. That's absolutely, you nailed it. The only difference is between you and I and the entrepreneurs who are willing to move forward, is majority of entrepreneurs, I can show you facts and etc. Majority of entrepreneurs, they are stuck on that painful moment. It's not that painful enough, and it's not less painful, but they accept the pain. And for that reason, they're never going to go break through. So one of the things, like in US, I believe there are 31 plus million small businesses. Majority of them, 95+% of them, will not make $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
There are 31 million. It's like the whole state of Florida. If they were all entrepreneurs, none of them will make $1 million US a year. And majority of the problem is that they are the problem, because they have their certain beliefs, they have their certain pains. They are not willing to let that pain become bigger pain where they can break through, and they cannot let that pain go away because they're stuck and that became their identity. Mm-hmm. If you talk about your pain over and over again, it becomes who you are. That's why we are so easily victimized. Oh, because I'm this. Oh, because I am that. Oh, because they don't understand me. Yeah, nobody will understand you. You are the only person that can change that. Nobody else. And that's why entrepreneurship is a lonely game.
Yeah, but I can't. I do agree with that, and that does make sense. But and I know it's hard to see this when you're in the moment, but it's like, man, I think somebody not understanding you is something you should capitalize on. Because if somebody doesn't understand you, you don't have any really expectations to live up to anyways. If somebody doesn't understand you, that's how they see you. So it's like, why not just do what you like? Why not create that business? Why not go for this thing? Why not try this thing? They're not going to understand you anyways. Like just do the thing.
Because the reality hurts when people say, haha, I told you so, Cody, you're not going to become successful. You're not going to make more than 5 podcasts. And then when you reach at 5 and then you only have 5 listeners, then they are right at that moment.
For sure.
Yep. And so the only way for you is to swallow up and just move on and try another one and try another one and try another one until you break through. Mm-hmm. It's as an entrepreneur, you make 99 failures and everybody around you celebrate that one success.
Yep. What did we talk about earlier? The law of the averages. You have 100, maybe 2 of those are the ones that stand out. You know, I don't know. Let's use a podcast. Maybe you do 100, maybe only 2 of them, get any decent traction. Who knows? But it's like, once you get to that point, man, look, you can knock on 100 doors. You can knock on 100 doors. But it might take, if you just get one, that one could be all you need. You don't need the whole, first of all, I don't care who you are. You're not going to get the whole 100. But that 1 or that 2 or that 3 or that 5, I mean, all it takes is one, man. Like all it takes is one.
I use U.S. elections as a great example without negative side. Okay, so 8 years ago, when Trump won, and everybody was in the whole world talking about it, positive, negative. Okay, and I used Trump as an example. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how you do it. As long as you take action and 48% of the humans vote for you, you can become a president of the US. So you don't have to have 100%. You don't even have to have half of it. And so there is always an audience for you as long as you are willing to put yourself there, put yourself on that everybody can laugh at you, can talk about you. I don't know, again, who said that. I need to remember those names. That a person said is, your haters will hate you until you become so successful that they're going to be your groupies. It doesn't matter what you do, they're going to be in love with you.
Yep.
So the only thing is use that negative energy. When you say that you want to become, let's say, the Joe Rogan of podcasts in a certain region, people say, they will talk a lot of that and they will laugh at you. And I know it's painful because that's how it was when we were young. When somebody laughed at you, it hurt you. Okay. But the only way is that you take that frustration, say, thank you very much. Another name on my list that I need to use. And then later on, when I become successful, then I'll say, I will send you a personal invitation to my podcast to sit there, and you will get a free beer from my side so that you can enjoy my success.
Yeah. It's crazy that you say that, man, because this was recently, I had a clip that I put up on social media, and it was about narcissism. It was about narcissists and that kind of thing. And obviously I triggered some people. I had some people say that, this guy's not going to make it in the podcast industry, or this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And basically all I said was, not to go off on a tangent here, but just kind of explain the story. We hear the word narcissism. We hear that a lot these days, especially in the dating market. Everybody's ex is a narcissist, whatever. And I was actually talking to a psychiatrist on the podcast about this, and Dr. Fred Moss, and I was saying, it's crazy. Like, it sounds like the lack of accountability is a major trait of narcissism. And so if we have people who are just saying their ex is a narcissist, are we not perpetuating the cycle of narcissism? Are we not creating narcissists by saying someone else is a narcissist? Because it's different if a relationship ends and you say, oh yeah, we weren't the same, we weren't good people together, we were not good together, we were just different people, whatever. That's very different from a person saying, oh, my ex was a narcissist, they did everything wrong, I didn't do anything wrong, it was all on them. I mean, you see what I'm saying here? Yeah, that was weird, man. I apologize, but I don't know. Sometimes the technology is great when it works, and then when it's not, it's so. But yeah, so I do have to leave in a couple minutes. If you have anything you want to promote or anything you want to share before we close out, you can do that. We can
the only thing that I will say, just follow me on LinkedIn. That's the one that I'm on daily basis interacting. But additionally, I would just like to give your audience one small message. At the end of the bottom line, nobody cares how you do it as long as you do it for yourself and then move on. And then if you can share it later on with your family, friends, etc., that's basically what counts. All the other stuff, like the fame and etc., if you just put to work, then you're going to get it. And I think there's a saying, the best time to start a business was 10 years ago, and the second best time is today.
Absolutely. So listen, man, I have one more thing to ask you, and maybe you've already touched on it just right now, but if you had to kind of pinpoint, or if you wanted to share one of the most valuable lessons you've ever learned, either from entrepreneurship or if your personal life, if it's something you're comfortable sharing, what do you think is, I know it's kind of hard to say the most, but maybe one of the most, what do you think is one of the most important lessons you've ever learned?
It's literally just recently happened. So my oldest son, Nino, he is fifth grader, and one of his classmates, unfortunately, was a negative thing. Her mom passed away half a year ago, pancreatic cancer. And one thing, she came to school by saying like, oh, my mother created this garment, and this is limited edition, and the money that we gather, we're going to spend it to the cancer research at pancreatic research. And while they were pitching it in the class, my son had this huge stars in his eyes. He came home and he said, Dad, it was so sad story to hear, and I know it's painful situation for her. He's 8, just keep that in mind, okay? And then I would like to help her out. So I would like to do work, save money, and buy that garment. So then, one, I can have it, but with that, I can help her and help her the cause. And this garment was $75. And this dude, 8 years old, asked me day in, day out, Daddy, can you give me a task? Can you give me this? Can you do me this? He went to every door in the neighborhood asking for doing work. He was literally getting like $1 per doing some small task or cleaning or doing some stuff. And this 8-year-old guy got the money within 2.5 weeks of time, $75. And it gives me still goosebumps. It's amazing to see And the reflection that I have to myself is that's literally entrepreneurship with a clear focus and plan. You get
Absolutely.
motivated if you do it day in, day out, and if you see where you want to go. Are you a motorcycle driver?
I used to be. Yeah. I
So
used
when
to
you
have a
take a
motorcycle.
curve, you don't
Hmm.
look up front, you look the curve totally. You look where you want to go. Because if you
Yep.
look up front of you, then you're going to either make a mistake and fall down or get an accident. But if you look the curve long, then for some reason the bike will tilt that way. It's
Hmm.
like it's like something like magical. It's you don't push it, it just goes that way. And that's what
Yep.
I've seen with my 8-year-old son. And that this happened just recently, like 7 weeks ago or something like that. And based on that, we just created a tournament, like a pickleball kind of tournament in Amsterdam that we're going to do. And the money that we're going to raise is going to go to that. He created a ripple effect, and now the whole school is going to organize and hopefully get a big amount of money so then in the future, less people will die from these kind of diseases. So
Man, that's incredible.
entrepreneurship is having a plan, sticking towards that as a GPS location. And yes, the road might change. They're going to have blockades, but as the goal for you is you want to end to that destination, and the journey will show you.
For sure. Man, that's incredible. And I love to hear that because it's inspiring to hear that even an 8-year-old that maybe doesn't necessarily know exactly how the world works, it knows this. You know what I mean? Knows that this is how to get something done. I mean, that's incredible. And then it also inspired the school to do something, do something also. I mean, this is incredible to hear.
And
It's,
these are the things that it doesn't matter what age you are. Even
mhm.
KFC is created at 64 years old, and then he failed miserably, and then he had to rethink about his strategy, and then he created a franchise, and that became
Yep.
successful and is one of the biggest franchise in the world. And he became a millionaire, I believe, at the age of 81.
Hmm.
So age is not a number when you want to start a business.
Hmm. Well, listen, man, I definitely appreciate your insight and your time here today. I appreciate you doing this with me. I do have to wrap up, but
Thank you very much, man.
yeah, just hang out for just a second. Let me explain to you about the upload situation and all that good stuff, and then and we'll go from there. But yeah, definitely appreciate your time today, man.
I appreciate you challenging and having a smooth conversation, disagreeing, agreeing. At the end of the bottom line, this is basically a human being. This is what it is. Is as long
Yep.
as we are willing to challenge each other and to move on to the direction that we want to achieve our own goals and help each other on that path. That's what it is. I appreciate you having me here, and looking forward to see you more in the future, man.
Yes, sir. Same here. Thank you. Hey, listen, guys, I really appreciate you tuning in today. If you enjoyed this podcast, if you found it useful or beneficial, you can subscribe, follow, interact, and see more content at Pure Wisdom Podcast. This is all social medias: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Rumble, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Google and Apple Podcasts. Again, we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next time.